She says, "You're overthinking it. He's just a friend." But your instincts, they're screaming. It's not jealousy. It's not paranoia. It's the truth trying to speak through your silence. By the time she says that, the betrayal has already started. Maybe not with her body, but definitely with her mind. And a Stoic man? He doesn't beg. He doesn't chase. He sees it for what it is, and chooses himself. This is the Stoic resilience, where men learn to lead with discipline, not desperation. Today, we're diving into the moment you realize she's already cheating. Emotionally, mentally, maybe even physically. What do you do when the signs are subtle, but your soul is unsettled? The answer isn't rage. It's not revenge. It's awareness, detachment, and power. Let's break it down, the Stoic way. If she says, "We're just friends," or responds with, "You're just being insecure," the moment you voice a concern, stop and listen. Not to her words, but to the deeper message hidden underneath. There's a difference between trust and blindness. Stoicism teaches us not to be reactive, but it never asks us to ignore what's right in front of us. To be Stoic is not to be numb or passive. It's to be fully present, fully aware, and radically honest with ourselves, even when the truth stings. Let's break it down. The phrase, "we're just friends," might sound innocent on the surface. But when it's paired with secretive behavior, sudden emotional distance, or a shift in energy, it becomes a shield. A deflection. It's a way to shut down the conversation before it even begins. And if you dare to question it, you'll likely hear something like, "You're being controlling," or "You're insecure." Now let's be clear, there's a huge difference between controlling someone and protecting your peace. If you're constantly anxious and projecting, that's your own inner work to do. But if your gut is telling you something's off, and the patterns match the energy, you'd be a fool to ignore it. A Stoic is not naive, only calm. The Stoic man is not driven by jealousy, but by clarity. He doesn't stalk, snoop, or spiral. But he watches. He listens. And when a person begins to make him question his reality, he knows something deeper is happening. Emotional cheating often starts in the shadows. It begins with little lies, small omissions, things that are technically harmless. A lunch they forgot to mention. A DM they deleted. The sudden change in how much time they're spending with someone else, paired with a rise in defensiveness when asked about it. It's not just the act, it's the energy. There's a difference between hiding and privacy. Privacy respects the relationship. Hiding undermines it. When she says, "You're being too sensitive," what she's really doing is invalidating your instinct, making you doubt your own judgment. And when someone consistently makes you feel like your gut is wrong, like your concerns are irrational, they're grooming you to stay silent while they cross boundaries. That's not love. That's manipulation. Stoicism isn't about tolerating that. It's about seeing it for what it is, calmly and clearly. The ancient Stoics believed that the only thing you truly control is your mind. Your perception, your choices, your response. You can't control what another person does. You can't force them to be loyal, honest, or emotionally available. But you can control how long you allow yourself to remain in a space where your peace is constantly under threat. Some men stay too long in situations that are spiritually draining because they think that confronting it makes them weak. But silence in the face of betrayal is not strength, it's self-abandonment. You have to be willing to sit with the hard truth. If she's constantly defensive, if she avoids accountability, if she makes you question your worth for simply expressing how you feel, then emotionally, she's already somewhere else. She may still be in your bed, still sending heart emojis, still telling you, "I love you." But her energy, her attention, her heart, it's already shifted. And no matter how much you chase, argue, or explain, you can't force someone to respect what they've already decided to devalue. That's where Stoicism becomes your shield. The Stoic man doesn't scream. He doesn't beg. He doesn't lose sleep trying to decode mixed signals. He observes patterns, gathers data, and makes decisions based on reality, not hope. And if that reality reveals that she's no longer invested, he walks away with grace, not bitterness. You were not created to be a backup plan. You're not here to compete for attention with a friend. You're not supposed to earn back what should have never been at risk in the first place. So when you hear that red flag phrase, "We're just friends," don't panic. Don't accuse. Don't explode. Observe. Take a step back. Look at the timeline. Notice the shifts. Pay attention to how she talks about this friend. Does her story change? Does she seem more emotionally available to him than to you? Does she dismiss your concerns instead of addressing them? Your job isn't to control her. It's to protect your energy. You don't owe her your peace just because she says the right words. Words are easy. Loyalty isn't. And here's the hardest part. You don't need proof to honor your intuition. You don't need a screenshot, a confession, or a caught-in-the-act moment. If your soul feels drained, disrespected, or consistently dismissed, you already have all the evidence you need. Stoicism teaches us that a man must act from reason, not desperation. So act with reason. Withdraw your energy. Reclaim your boundaries. Return to yourself. Because sometimes, walking away quietly is louder than any confrontation. And when she realizes what she lost, it won't be the relationship that haunts her. It'll be the man who mastered his emotions, knew his worth, and chose peace over drama. That's what it means to be unshakable. That's what it means to live with stoic resilience. Let's talk about that phrase. The one every guy has heard at some point, and every guy hates to hear. We're just friends. You bring up a concern. Maybe it's something subtle you've noticed. The late-night texts. The giggles over messages. The sudden secrecy. And instead of transparency, you get hit with, "You're being insecure. You're overreacting." Now let me ask you, why is it, the moment you start to trust your gut, you're made to feel guilty for it? See, as men, we've been told for years. Real men don't get jealous. Don't be controlling. Just let it go. But here's what Stoicism actually teaches. Yes, master your emotions. Yes, don't react out of fear or anger. But never ignore your instincts. Never silence the voice that's quietly saying, "Something isn't right." Because when she says, "We're just friends," it's not the words that matter. It's the pattern behind them. She used to tell you everything. Now she's quiet. She used to laugh with you. Now she's cold. She used to be present. Now her mind is somewhere else, even when her body's in the same room. That's how emotional cheating starts. It doesn't start in bed. It starts in her mind. It starts with inside jokes you're not part of. It starts with conversations you're not allowed to ask about. It starts with secrets. And when you finally bring it up, not with accusations, but just honesty, you're painted as insecure. But let me tell you something a lot of guys need to hear. Insecurity is different from intuition. Control is different from clarity. Jealousy is different from awareness. If you feel disrespected, unseen, or replaced emotionally, you don't need proof to feel the shift. You already know. A Stoic is not naive, only calm. That's one of the hardest truths for a man to accept. That the woman he loves may have already checked out. And no matter how kind, loving, or loyal he's been, her heart has already left the room. Now listen, this isn't about blaming her. It's about understanding the moment you're in, and choosing how to respond like a Stoic. Because the non-Stoic response? It's rage. It's begging. It's chasing. It's trying to win back someone who's already handed her energy to someone else. But the Stoic man, he doesn't lose himself trying to keep someone who's already slipping. He steps back. He observes. He listens, not to her words, but to the truth beneath them. You start to notice the tone. The eye contact that's gone. The way she lights up when his name comes up, but looks away when you mention it. And when that red flag shows up in the form of, "You're just being insecure," you realize, that's not a defense. That's a distraction. She's flipping the script. She's making you doubt your own discernment. And that's how emotional manipulation works. Subtle, soft, but dangerous. So what do? You don't yell. You don't beg. You don't accuse. You get quiet. You start reclaiming your focus. You ask yourself, is this relationship still aligned with my peace, my purpose, and my power? Because if the answer is no, you don't need a fight. You need a decision. This is the part where the Stoic separates himself from every other man. Not because he doesn't care, but because he cares about himself enough to walk away from what no longer honors him. So the next time you hear, "We're just friends," don't ignore the phrase. Don't obsess over it either. Just take it as data, a signal, a clue. Then watch the behavior. Match it to the pattern. And respond, not with fear, but with quiet strength. Because a Stoic doesn't need revenge. He doesn't need to expose, prove, or punish. He just lets go, clean, calm, and complete. And in the end, she'll remember the man who didn't break when she did. She'll remember the man who saw through the lies, stood in truth, and walked with dignity. That is what Stoic resilience looks like. So let's say you've heard it. We're just friends. You've felt the shift, the emotional distance, the growing silence behind her words. You didn't panic. You didn't blow up her phone or search for evidence. You stayed calm, but not blind. Now the question is, what does a Stoic man do next? He does what he's always trained for. He centers himself. Because here's what Stoicism teaches us. It's not just about reacting well in the moment. It's about building a foundation that allows you to make strong decisions, even when everything around you is unstable. The Stoic man doesn't chase loyalty. He attracts it by living in full alignment with who he is. So when trust is broken, or when the warning signs are clear, he doesn't scramble to fix the other person. He strengthens his own foundation. That means first, he stops negotiating with red flags. If someone shows you that your peace doesn't matter to them, if they consistently shut down your voice and mock your feelings, that's not love. That's a test. And you fail that test the moment you try to prove yourself to someone who's already disrespected your value. Listen, your intuition is not a problem to fix. It's a signal to act on. So the Stoic man acts. He pulls back his energy, not out of spite, but out of clarity. Not to hurt her, but to protect himself. He doesn't argue about what she said. He watches what she does next. Does she notice your silence? Does she take accountability? Does she open up the conversation with honesty? Or does she keep deflecting, blaming, and playing victim? That response tells you everything. And when it's clear that the connection has been compromised, the Stoic man does something many fear. He walks away without chaos. No dramatic exit. Number 20-page text explaining every thought. No public fallout. Just silence. Stillness. Peace. Because walking away isn't weakness, it's wisdom. And silence doesn't mean you're lost. It means you're mastering the art of detachment. Now, here's the beauty of detachment. It's not about not caring. It's about not being controlled. She may have walked emotionally before you did physically. But now, you're fully aligned with your truth. And there's no version of self-respect that includes staying in a situation that consistently dishonors your gut. So what's next? You rebuild. You turn that pain into purpose. You pour your energy into your mind, your mission, and your momentum. You realign with your core values: discipline, clarity, self-respect. She became a distraction. Now, you become your own focus. You don't badmouth her. You don't seek revenge. You just elevate. Quietly, daily, unshakably. Because Stoicism isn't just about staying calm in a storm. It's about becoming so internally grounded that the storm passes through you, without ever owning you. Let her talk. Let her spin her version. Let her friends judge. You're not in that arena anymore. You're on a new path now. One that leads away from emotional chaos and back toward your highest self. And guess what? People will notice. She will notice. The man who didn't fall apart. The man who didn't beg. The man who stayed calm, collected, and focused. That man is unforgettable. But don't do it for her. Don't elevate hoping she'll see what she lost. Do it because you finally saw what you were losing by staying. Your peace. Your confidence. Your edge. Now you have it back. And this time, you're not giving it away for a pretty face and empty phrases. You're building something real, with or without her. Because a Stoic man doesn't find strength in controlling others. He finds it in mastering himself. And when you do that, no heartbreak can hold you. No lie can derail you. No betrayal can break you. You become untouchable, not because you don't feel pain, but because you've learned how to rise through it. That's the power of Stoic resilience. That's what she lost. And that's what you just reclaimed. So, you've walked away. Not out of anger. Not to prove anything. But because peace finally mattered more than potential. You've stopped trying to fix what was never yours to repair. You've accepted what your gut knew long before your heart did. And now, you're in the quiet aftermath. This is the moment most men fear. The silence. The loneliness. The emptiness of letting go. But here's the truth. This is where your transformation begins. See, heartbreak is not the end of a Stoic man. It's the beginning of his evolution. It's in the silence, away from distractions, away from drama, where a man hears himself again. And when you start hearing yourself, you start healing yourself. You begin asking deeper questions. Who am I without this relationship? What values do I live by? What kind of woman do I really want? And what kind of man must I become to attract her? Because now, the goal isn't just to find someone new. It's to never lose yourself again in the process of loving someone else. And that's the real Stoic power. Self-possession. You own your thoughts. You own your time. You own your energy. You no longer give discounts to people who never paid attention. You no longer shrink just to be loved. You rebuild, internally. You double down on your purpose. You lock into your health, your finances, your craft. You create structure, not just routine. Discipline, not just distraction. You don't run to numb the pain. You sit in it. You learn from it. And then, you let it go. Because pain is a teacher, not a prison. Now here's the part nobody talks about. When you start to level up, she might come back. She'll notice the silence, the glow, the discipline. Maybe she'll reach out. Maybe she'll say she misses you. Maybe she'll act like nothing ever happened. But you've changed. You no longer crave what broke you. You no longer need validation from someone who didn't value your intuition. You're no longer the man begging to be understood. You've become the man who understands himself, and that's enough. So, what does life look like now? It looks like boundaries. It looks like self-respect in action. It looks like saying no to what drains you, and yes to what builds you. You move different now. You speak less and observe more. You don't chase, because you understand your value can't be negotiated. And when the next woman shows up, because she will, you're not desperate. You're discerning. You're no longer pulled in by the surface. You listen to energy. You watch how she shows up. Not just when things are good, but when you're vulnerable, when you set standards, when you draw lines. And if she doesn't honor those lines, you walk. Easily. Calmly. Unapologetically. Because now, losing her didn't break you. It revealed you. You didn't fall apart. You fell into alignment. And in that alignment, you discovered something deeper than revenge, deeper than rebound, deeper than regret. Peace. Peace with yourself. Peace with your decisions. Peace with the fact that you didn't lower your standards just to be kept. That's what it means to rise after heartbreak. Not with noise. Not with games. But with silence, strength, and a soul that finally belongs to itself. So, if you're watching this and still feeling the sting, if her words are still echoing in your mind, if you're still tempted to reach out, to explain, to make her see what she lost. Don't let her feel your absence. Let the silence speak. Let your growth do all the talking. Because the best revenge is not replacement. It's elevation. And the highest form of elevation. Peace of mind. Hold that. Protect that. Because from here on out, you don't move for attention. You move with intention. And that, my brother, is what makes you untouchable. That's the Stoic way. If this message hit you deep, if you found yourself nodding, reflecting, or even sitting in silence, then this wasn't just a video. This was a mirror. And if you're ready to keep becoming the man who doesn't just survive heartbreak but transforms through it, you're exactly where you need to be. This channel isn't about surface-level advice. It's not about quick fixes or gimmicks. It's about building resilient, grounded, high-value men from the inside out. So if that's your mission too, I want you to do 3 simple things. First, hit that subscribe button. Not for me, for you. Because every week, we're going deeper on mindset, emotional mastery, discipline, and relationships from a Stoic perspective. Second, drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts. Have you heard those red flag phrases? Did this video give you clarity? Your story could be what another man needs to hear today. And third, share this video with a brother who needs it. Someone going through a breakup. Someone doubting himself. Someone quieting his voice just to keep a connection alive. Let's build a community where men don't just bottle it up, we level up. Quiet strength. Ruthless self-respect. Calm leadership. You're not alone. You're not broken. You're just getting started. And remember, you don't have to chase what's not aligned. You don't have to beg to be chosen. You only need one thing, yourself, fully rooted, fully aware, and fully unshakable.